This is a pet peeve of mine. There's a prevailing concept that if there's a worse crime out there, whatever crime a lesser crime should be dismissed. And I know sometimes it's a joke, but sometimes it's not a joke. Sometimes people will actually say, hey, there's a worse crime out there. Absolutely get it. But it doesn't make it okay or all of a sudden not a problem if something happens to you. Can you imagine if you call the police, your car gets stolen, you call the police, and the police will say, "Hey, you know what? We have murders to deal with. We don't have time for your petty small car." You wouldn't be happy. If you have something stolen from you, you want it dealt with as well. You want to, if you are assaulted, and the police said, "Hey, we have anything else going on that's worse than assault," and there are things worse than assault. Yeah, of course. I mean, let's say you're an adult and you get assaulted. Yeah, maybe there's a serial killer out there, and they'll say, "Hey, there's a serial killer go on the loose. We can't deal with you being bruised and battered. That's not a big deal." And you stop and think about it in the grand scheme of things. Maybe somebody stopped and punched you in the face. It's not that big of a deal compared to a serial killer being out there, but that's not the way society or life works. It's funny as a joke, but that's not reality. So I don't know. Like I said, I wanted to address that pet peeve of mine. Another situation. I think this kind of spills over into why there's like a hierarchy in prisons as to what's the worst. Of course, they'll beat up pedophiles when they get to prison, and I think this kind of ties into this because what it comes down to is people will sort of justify in their minds and think, okay, if there's a worse crime, I can kind of alleviate myself. I can feel not as bad about myself. Because you have something else. And think about it, right? Let's say you robbed a bank and you think, oh my God, I'm a bad person. But you want to think about it, and it kind of gives you a little bit of hope in this world because people want to think about themselves as good people. And so it means people have this drive or this need to be a good person. All right, they're not like mustache twirling villains that want to be evil. So fine, okay, they want to be good. But let's just say, yeah, they embezzled, they stole from a bank, they robbed a bank, robbed a convenience store, whatever. And they're sitting in jail and they're thinking, oh my God, what's worse than me? I'm not so bad. Come on, there's somebody worse. And they'll think, yeah, somebody murdered somebody. Crime of passion, there's that person sitting there, spur of the moment. They were, I don't know, in a altercation and they killed somebody. Fine, okay. Well, not fine, but you know what I mean. They're sitting there and they're thinking, what's worse than me? Oh my God, I killed somebody. Oh yeah, look, there's a pedophile. And it's sort of like, well, you need somebody to look down on, somebody that's worse than you, and it builds this hierarchy. But you know what? That person who robbed the bank, that person who was an embezzler, you're not a good person. Or I don't want to make that judgment like just call you a bad person, but what you did is not good. Okay, it doesn't, just because there's something worse doesn't mean it's okay. And life doesn't work that way. You can't go out there and just beat people up and tell the cops, it's okay. There's somebody killing somebody else out there. So this is okay. Dismiss me. Don't worry about me. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna fly. And it does make absolutely no sense whatsoever. It makes no sense in my analogy. It makes no sense in real life. And even as this joke, like, hey, at the beginning of what I was saying, there's like this meme about these guys selling avocados illegally. It's like, yeah, whatever. Shoplifters, whatever. It's of course the punishment should fit the crime. I'm not saying all crimes should be punished equally. Just let's just put the death penalty on people, on these guys because they were selling avocados illegally. That's dumb. But the point being, just because something more grand happens, it does not dismiss something smaller, everything at its own level. So anyway, that was my pet peeve I wanted to say. Maybe I've been rambles. Thank you for listening to me ramble on for so long. Thank you.